Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn, clutch your pearls, and maybe even call your therapist. Because what just went down inside that hospital room might be the most explosive meltdown of the decade. Fire. Imagine this. Papoose, the king of calm, the emperor of loyalty, absolutely losing it after a cold-faced doctor drops the bombshell. We can't save Remy Ma. Wait, what? You thought heartbreaks only happened in love songs? No. This was real life. And the chaos? Oh, it was legendary. Chairs flying, security called, nurses ducking like it's a WWE SmackDown. And right in the center of it all, Papoose. Fists clenched, voice cracking, demanding they do something. Where were the miracle workers they show on TV? Where was that never give up energy? Or was this just another cold hospital cover-up exposed at the worst possible time? One thing's for sure. What happened next was so intense, even seasoned. ER staff said they'd never seen anything like it. And oh yes, the cameras were rolling. Buckle up. This ride's about to get messy. Imagine walking into a hospital expecting miracles and walking out with nothing but broken promises, shattered hearts, and a story so chaotic it deserves its own Netflix special. Welcome to the night everything broke loose, starring none other than hip-hop's ride-or-die king, Papoose, and the queen herself, Remy Ma, fighting for her life behind sterile white curtains. It started like any normal emergency. A rush to the ER, a swarm of nurses, beeping monitors, that cold, bone-chilling smell of hospital fear. But nobody, absolutely nobody, could have predicted what would happen when one smug doctor decided to tell Papoose the 5 words no man ever wants to hear. We can't save Remy Ma. The moment those words left the doctor's mouth, it was like someone flipped a switch inside Papoose. Gone was the quiet, composed rapper we've seen patiently standing by Remy's side through every headline, every scandal, every courtroom battle. In his place, a man possessed by love, rage, and raw helplessness. Eyewitnesses say the energy shifted so hard even the lights flickered. One nurse allegedly whispered under her breath, "Oh no, we're about to have a situation." And oh, a situation they had. Papoose's face contorted into something unrecognizable. His voice boomed across the ICU like a bomb, rattling trays and sending interns scurrying for cover. "Save her! Do something!" He roared, slamming his fist into the nearest counter so hard a stack of clipboards tumbled to the floor. Staff tried to calm him. One brave orderly stepped forward, arms out, voice soothing, but Papoose was beyond reach, beyond logic, beyond reason. In that moment, it wasn't about being famous. It wasn't about reputation. It was about pure human desperation, the kind you can't script, fake, or control. Sources say the doctor tried to reason with him, explaining the technicalities, the vitals dropping, the machines blinking red. But for Papoose, there was only one reality. This was Remy Ma, his Remy, his soulmate, his everything. And no clipboard waving, jargon-spewing, lab coat-wearing stranger was going to tell him otherwise. Word inside the hospital corridors spread like wildfire. Security was alerted within 3 minutes. Visitors from other floors gathered near the ICU entrance, peeking through glass panels, phones hidden in sleeves, catching shaky footage they'd later anonymously leak to shady blogs. And what those videos captured? Madness. Absolute, unfiltered. Madness. Papoose wasn't just arguing. He was demanding, begging, threatening. At one point, witnesses say he grabbed the doctor's white coat by the collar, pulling him so close their noses almost touched. "You gave up on her. You gave. Up on her. Save her." The tension was so thick you could slice it with a scalpel. Meanwhile, behind the curtains, Remy Ma lay unconscious, oblivious to the war erupting in her name. Every beep of the heart monitor felt like a countdown. Every second wasted felt like another nail in the coffin of hope. Inside the chaos, one desperate moment blurred into another. Some claimed Papoose even tried to push into the restricted zone, demanding to be by Remy's side. Others say hospital staff literally blocked him with their bodies, forming a human shield around the ICU doors. Tears streamed down his face, but not the quiet, stoic tears you cry at funerals. These were furious tears, the kind you cry when you're ready to rip down walls and burn the world to save the one you love. Meanwhile, outside, The scene was exploding. Paparazzi had somehow caught wind of the drama. Within 20 minutes, flashing cameras and TV vans swarmed the parking lot. Headlines were being drafted in real time. Papoose erupts at hospital after Remy Ma's critical condition revealed. Chaos at ICU, Papoose's heartbreaking plea goes viral. Security called after rapper snaps, inside the meltdown. But inside, none of that mattered. Inside those ICU walls, it was just a man, his love, and the cruel ticking of time. Hospital administrators huddled in corners, strategizing damage control. Phones were ringing nonstop. Lawyers were reportedly called preemptively, because when a star loses it in your building, you know lawsuits are just around the corner. Sources close to the family say Papoose's inner circle was rushing to the hospital. Friends, managers, even a few rappers who hadn't spoken to him in years. Everybody wanted in. Everybody wanted to see the storm for themselves. But by the time reinforcements arrived, the situation had escalated even further. Security was officially ordered to intervene. Not lightly, not diplomatically, physically. And that's where things took an even darker turn. If you thought the shouting, the crying, and the threats were the peak of the chaos, oh no, my friends, that was just the warm-up. Because the moment hospital security made their move, the whole place turned into something straight out of an action movie. Sources inside the hospital say 4 security guards were deployed to de-escalate Papoose. Spoiler alert, it didn't de-escalate. It ignited. Witnesses claim the guards approached slowly, hands raised, doing that calm, "Sir, we understand. Please come with us" routine. You know, the kind you see on cop shows right before all hell breaks loose? Yeah, big mistake. Papoose turned around, face soaked with tears, chest heaving with fury, and boom! He shoved the nearest security guard backwards into a tray of medical supplies. IV bags flew like party balloons. A gurney nearly toppled over. A nurse screamed, so loud half the maternity ward heard it. Loyal husband. The peace-preaching rapper had officially snapped, and the whole hospital watched it unfold like it was the final act of a Greek tragedy. One anonymous nurse told a shady blog later that night, "It was like he couldn't hear anyone. He just kept shouting, 'Save her, save her,' over and over." Outside the ICU, patients and visitors were either filming the scene or pulling their kids closer, unsure whether to pray, run, or just gawk. Meanwhile, hospital management was panicking harder than a cat in a bathtub. Phones were ringing off the hook. Legal teams were being assembled on the fly. Rumors even circulated that hospital administrators tried to lock down the floor. But it was too late. By now, multiple witnesses had leaked live footage onto social media. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram exploded simultaneously, trending hashtags within 20 minutes. Save Remy, pray for Remy, Haas Papoose breakdown, Haas hospital chaos, Remy emergency. One TikTok user captured the exact moment Papoose screamed, "She's not just a patient, she's my wife. You gave up on her, but I won't." In the background, you could hear security trying to wrestle him down while the heart monitor from Remy's room beeped. Loud, slow, and terrifyingly steady. Pop culture blogs went into a frenzy. TMZ posted a blurry video titled, "Papoose Meltdown." At NYC Hospital, staff overwhelmed. The Shade Room went savage with, "When Love Turns Violent, Papoose versus Hospital Security in Remy Ma Tragedy." Hip Hop DX tried to stay classy. Papoose pleads for Remy Ma's life amid hospital controversy. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion was going crazy. Some fans defended Papoose. "I'd lose my mind too if doctors gave up on my wife. He's a real one." Others criticized him. "This ain't the way. Security had no choice. Hope Remy Ma pulls through though." And some, because internet trolls never sleep, turned it into a meme. "Security, sir, you need to calm down." Papoose unleashes full WWE finisher. But behind all the jokes and hot takes, the real heartbreak was impossible to ignore. This wasn't about celebrity anymore. This wasn't about ego or reputation. This was about a man facing the unbearable, the possibility of losing the only person who ever matched his loyalty, beat for beat. Leaked insider reports claimed the hospital staff debated whether to call the actual police. Yes, real NYPD backup. Because the situation was spiraling so badly. One nurse allegedly sent a mass text to the team. If this escalates anymore, 911 is next. Meanwhile, Remy's vital signs, already hanging by a thread, flickered dangerously. The heart monitor beeped slower. The oxygen numbers danced downward. And somewhere in the chaos, doctors tried to regain focus, tried to stabilize, tried to do their jobs amid a swirling hurricane of shouting, crying, and chaos. But with Papoose, wailing just feet away, pounding fists against walls, demanding miracles, even the best surgeons in the city struggled to concentrate. And if that wasn't enough, another bombshell dropped. Remy Ma's family, her mother, her sister, even a few cousins, arrived at the hospital, and they were not happy. Witnesses claim her mother burst into the ER lobby, screaming at administrators, "You're going to let her die? Where's the best doctor? Where's the team? Where's the damn chief of medicine?" Security, already overwhelmed by Papoose, now had another furious family to contain. It was turning into a full-blown mutiny. And somewhere in the middle of it all, a quiet, terrified nurse whispered, "God help us. We're losing her." Everything, the rage, the grief, the prayers, seemed to reach a tipping point. And just when it felt like it couldn't get any worse, the head surgeon walked out, face pale, expression grim. What he said next changed everything. Silence. You could have heard a pin drop. Even the heart monitor, that relentless beep. Beep, beep, seemed to quiet itself as the chief surgeon approached. The man looked like he hadn't slept in 3 days. His scrubs were wrinkled, his surgical cap askew, his hands trembling slightly at his sides. He cleared his throat, looked around at the circle of tear-streaked faces, trembling family members, furious security guards, and Papoose standing in the middle like a storm about to erupt again. And then, he said it. "We're doing everything we can. But at this stage, it's critical. There's very little chance we can save her." It was like someone detonated a bomb in that room. Papoose's knees buckled, literally. Security guards instinctively moved to catch him, but he shoved them off, stumbling backward until he slammed against the wall. And then, he shouted so loudly the ICU hallway echoed like a cathedral. "You're supposed to be the best. You're supposed to save her." Behind him, Remy's mother collapsed into a chair, wailing uncontrollably. Her sister screamed for someone, anyone, to bring another doctor. An uncle cursed at hospital staff, while a cousin pulled out his phone to start live streaming the meltdown. It was no longer just a medical emergency. It was a full-scale public disaster. Papoose, desperate and wild-eyed, demanded a second opinion. Demanded they call in another surgeon, a specialist, anyone who could do something. "Get someone from another hospital. I'll pay for it," he shouted, pulling out his phone like he was about to dial every hospital in New York. But the surgeon shook his head slowly, pain written all over his face. There's no time. Moving her could kill her faster. And just like that, every ounce of hope he'd been clinging to snapped like a thread. Witnesses say he slid down the wall to the floor, burying his face in his hands, rocking back and forth like a man unhinged. The internet exploded once again. Live streams from inside the hospital captured the surgeon's announcement. Clips hit TikTok faster than you could blink, trending immediately. Save Remy. Pray for Remy. Papoose breakdown. Hospital chaos. Remy emergency 1. TikTok user captured the exact moment Papoose screamed, "She's not just a patient. She's my wife. You gave up on her, but I won't." In the background, you could hear security trying to wrestle him down, while Remy's heart monitor beeped, loud, slow, and terrifyingly steady. Pop culture blogs went into a frenzy. TMZ posted a blurry video, Papoose meltdown at NYC hospital, staff overwhelmed. The Shade Room titled theirs, "When Love Turns Violent, Papoose versus Hospital Security in Remy Ma Tragedy." Hip Hop DX went with a more respectful, "Papoose pleads for Remy Ma's life amid hospital controversy." Meanwhile, the public split into factions. Some fans stood by him. "I'd lose it too. They gave up on her. He's a real one." Others were critical. This ain't the way. Security had no choice. And of course, trolls turned it into memes. But behind all of that, the cameras, the opinions, the hashtags, this wasn't about attention. It was about a man who couldn't let go. A man who wouldn't stop fighting. A man who watched the system give up on the woman he swore to protect. And there you have it. One of the most heart-wrenching, chaotic scenes we've witnessed in a long time. A loyal husband fighting a system that seemed to give up on the woman he stood by all his life. A hospital facing a PR disaster they may never recover from. But the real question remains, was Papoose justified in his outburst? Did the hospital really do everything to save Remy Ma? Or was this another tragic case of bureaucracy, negligence, and cold-hearted protocol winning over human life? You saw the footage, you heard the eyewitness accounts. Now we want to hear from you. Should hospitals be held legally accountable when families feel abandoned? Was Papoose wrong to fight the staff? Or was he doing what any real partner would do? And most importantly, do you believe Remy Ma still has a chance to pull through against all odds?